Hi, my name is Natasha and I work at the Southeast Regional Centre for Urban Land Care, otherwise known as CIRCLE. Today I'm going to be talking about how the original inhabitants of the southwest of Western Australia, the Noongar people, use native plants. These will be just a very small sample of the many beautiful plants we have growing in this region. The southwest of Western Australia has over 7,200 plant species and almost 80% are found nowhere else in the world. Plants that grow naturally in the southwest of WA were traditionally used for food, or bush tucker, medicine, and survival purposes by the original Aboriginal inhabitants and in some cases the early settlers. The term Noongar refers to Aboriginal Australian people who live in the southwest corner of Western Australia and whose ancestors were the original inhabitants of this area. Archaeological evidence shows that Noongars have lived in the southwest of Western Australia for 45,000 years. The Noongar nation is made up of 14 different language groups, each of which resides in a different area in the southwest. European settlers arrived in this area in 1826, landing firstly in Albany before establishing a colony in Perth in 1829. When Europeans came to the southwest of Western Australia in 1826, they brought a way of understanding the seasons from their home countries in Europe. Today, when most people think of the seasons, they still think of the four seasons of summer, autumn, winter, and spring. Each of these seasons occurs during certain months of the year. Noongars, however, follow 6 seasons, each of which represents and explains the changes we see throughout the year. These seasons are known as Barak, Bunaroo, Durin, McCrory, Gilbert, and Kumbarang. Each season approximately corresponds to 2 months of the year, although in reality they can be long or short and are indicated by what is happening and changing around us, rather than by dates on the calendar. Over the coming slides, I'll be showcasing plants used during each of these seasons. The common name, which is the name most people call the plant, will be followed by the Noongar name in brackets and the scientific name in italics. The scientific name is the one you should always use to identify a plant correctly, as many different plants can have the same common name, but not all of them are able to be used as described here. I will only read the common name as I am unsure of the correct pronunciation of many of the Noongar names. The pronunciation of many Noongar words can be found at the website shown in the bottom of your screen. Barak occurs around December to January during what is commonly known as summer. This season is hot and dry with no rain, but has daytime breezes from the east and late afternoon southwest sea breezes. Barak is represented by the colour red, which symbolises heat, the sun, and fire. The Christmas tree comes into flower in a spectacular way at the beginning of Barak. Historically during this time, the Whadjuk Noongar people who lived in and around the Perth region were moving towards the coast along the river. One of the plants used during Barak is coastal pigface, which is a succulent plant that covers the ground. Succulent plants store water in their leaves, stems, or both. After flowering, the fruit appears and can be eaten. The leaves can also be boiled and eaten as greens. Juice from the succulent leaves can be used as a medicine to treat stings, scalds, or burns. The bull Banksia is another plant used during Barak. The nectar was sucked directly from the flowers, or they were soaked in water to make a sweet drink. Grubs which burrow into the flower spikes were gathered and eaten, and seed cones were used to carry fire from place to place throughout the year. To do this, they would place the seed cones in the fire to burn for a while before removing them and blowing out the flames. They would then wrap the cones in animal skin or the bark from the paperbark trees and carry them as smouldering coal to use to start fires during the wetter months. There are 60 species of Banksia that are only found in the southwest of WA, and most were used in similar ways. Bunaroo occurs around February to March during what is commonly thought of as summer and autumn. This season is hot and dry, with winds blowing in from the north and the east. Bunaroo is represented by the colour orange to symbolise the abundance of fishing and lack of rain. It is a time of the white flowers, with lots of white flowering gums in full bloom, including jarrah, marri and ghost gums. During this time, the Whadjuk Noongar people were located at the coast. Marri is one of the white flowered trees that blooms during Bunaroo. These blossoms are soaked in water to make a sweet drink. Seeds that form in the honky or gum nuts that develop after flowering can be eaten or ground into flour and used to make damper, which is a form of bread. Resin or gum from the bark can be used as a medicine to treat an upset stomach or mixed with water and rubbed onto the skin to treat eczema. Large amounts of the powdered gum were used to tan kangaroo skins. Grass trees had lots of uses for Noongars. Like with many other plants, the flowers were used to make a sweet drink. Gum from the flowering spikes was made into cakes, and the dead spikes were used to make fire or to make spear shafts. Bardy or widgety grubs were collected from the trunks of dying trees. The black resin from the trunk was used as a glue to attach spearheads to a shaft or to start a fire. Bunches of leaves were used as thatching material for the roof of a hut, and when dried were made into torches. Durin occurs around April to May during what is commonly known as autumn. During this season it is becoming cooler, with winds coming from the southwest and the first rains falling. Durin is represented by the colour green to symbolise cooler weather and eucalyptus trees. It is a time of red flowers, especially from plants such as the red flowering gum. The Whadjuk Noongar people were moving towards the hills along the rivers and creeks during Durin. One of the plants used by Noongars during Durin was the zamia. The zamia is a prehistoric plant which has been on Earth since the time of the dinosaurs. The seeds are poisonous and were used as food and for hunting. They had to be treated to make them safe to eat. After this treatment, the soft red coating around the seed was cooked before being eaten. When people from other countries first arrived, they were poisoned by eating raw seeds, so it is very important that you never eat this or any other plants you find in the bush, as you won't know if they are poisonous or safe. Raw seeds were ground into a powder and used to stun fish, making them not able to move and therefore easier to catch. The woolly material found around the base of the fronds on top of the trunk was used as a fire starter or as an absorbent fibre for hygienic purposes. McCrory occurs around June to July during what is commonly called winter. During this time it is cold and wet with westerly gales. McCrory is represented by the colour blue to symbolise rain and cold weather. The blues and purples of flowers such as the blueberry lily and purple flag come out during this season. During McCrory, the Whadjuk Noongar people would travel inland to hunting areas located beyond the hills in the area now referred to as the wheat belt. One of the plants used during McCrory was old man saltbush. Its woody branches were used by Noongars to start fires and also to stop the wind blowing on them. The tiny saltbush seeds were crushed up and used to make flour for damper. Large saltbush leaves could be used to wrap meat or fish or eaten raw. These leaves taste very salty. Gilbert occurs around August to September or as winter turns into spring. During this season the second rains come, but it is becoming warmer. Gilbert is represented by the colours pink or light blue or purple to symbolise the growth of wildflowers and plants. During Gilbert, plants begin to flower, starting with the yellow flowering plants such as the acacias. During this season, the Whadjuk Noongars stayed inland for hunting. One of the plants used during Gilbert was the harsh hakea. It is called harsh because of its very spiky leaves. Once again, the nectar from the flowers was used to make a sweet drink by soaking the flower in water. The woody fruits of this plant were placed in a fire to crack them open, and then the seeds were eaten. They are said to taste like roasted almonds. The bark was burnt into a white ash that was used as a medicine to heal wounds. Kumbarang occurs around October to November or during the spring. It is the wildflower season and is getting hotter with less rain. Kumbarang is represented by the colour yellow to symbolise the return of hot weather. The grass tree or balga will continue to flower during this time. The Whadjuk Noongar people headed back towards the coast along the rivers and creeks during Kumbarang. The Scarlet Runner, otherwise known as the running postman, is one of the wildflowers of Kumbarang. The flowers provide a source of sweet nectar that can be sucked straight from the flower. The leaves were used to make a tea-like drink which is said to have a pleasant licorice flavour. The stems of the plant are used as a twine or rope for building or constructing things. The final plant I will describe today, and one that was used during Coomberang, is the coastal sword sedge. The leaves were used to make rope and string for maya or shelters. The white base of the leaf is edible and can be eaten raw or roasted, and plants in wetter areas are said to be more succulent. Circle's Phosphorus Awareness Project would like to acknowledge the Noongar people to whom the knowledge in this video should be credited. Please do not prepare bush tucker food without having been shown by an Aboriginal elder or experienced person. Some bush tucker, if eaten in large quantities or not prepared correctly, can cause illness. For more information about bush tucker plants, go to www.circle.org.au/our projects/bush tucker. Thank you.